see now. Let me see something here for a second. Let me see something. I'm looking here. No. See what I'm doing right there? This is the aspect ratio annoying thing about these damn webcams. And I actually got a good webcam right here. If I could figure out the zoom in feature on this thing. The only problem is that it's very wide. Good lens, very wide. But it eats up, more like it spreads the image out a little bit. So this green box looks outside. So you see this, and then you see this. See what I just did right there? See the difference? Bad example. See what I just did right there? Look at that. See? It doesn't crop up the image. It stretches out, and it captures more than it's supposed to. Not a good angle. So, give me a second, people. The purpose of what I did with the fingers is to show you that it doesn't capture. It captures. This webcam captures more than the one I'm using right now. See, this one captures this. The other one captures that. But at the same time, it covers areas that I don't want it to be covered. I only want to cover this green box, which I wish it could be a good green box effect, which I'm kind of working on, believe it or not. If I can make some space in here, I could come up with a nice whatchamacallit backdrop and add some animation to it. Which reminds me, I gotta invest money in that stuff. See, unlike most of you Johnny-come-latelys, I haven't quit my day job, so I could buy this stuff if I want to. So how is everybody doing this afternoon? It took me 2 hours to set this thing up, even though I had it set up already last night. I just changed this thing here a little bit more, but today I'm going to continue. This is part 2 of my 3-part series, my school years. I did my high school episodes, so today I'm going to be covering my college years. I'm kind of going in forward, but in reverse. You'll see what I'm talking about when I get there. But for now, let's pick up where we left off. High school. I wrapped up high school in 2001, and I developed this obsession about going to California for some reason, which is unheard of with New Yorkers. When New Yorkers get tired of New York City, they move to Florida, or Pennsylvania, or upstate. But Florida is always the most common getaway. I did the complete opposite. I went to California, Los Angeles. Again, unheard of. Why? Because New Yorkers hate Los Angeles. Some of them hate Los Angeles, and LA hasn't done anything to them. New Yorkers are just that close-minded. And it's funny because I don't know if those opinions are the same anymore now, because New York City becoming the mecca that it is now with gentrification and the city being cleaned up, and nobody can afford to live here anymore. Half the people live in Florida. So I lived in Los Angeles for 2 years, and by 2004 I was kind of fed up with the blue-collar work. That's what led me to going into school. And to continue the story, I made a list of what I want to cover. Okay, I'm already covering that part right now, so let's continue. What led me to go back to school? Tired of dead-end jobs. Made money, spend money. Made money, spend money. I had colleagues and friends tell me to go back to school if I was going to be happy in the workforce. And the fact is, I was a little bit too young and immature to handle that stuff. So when I finally made it to college, before I made it to college, something motivated me to go back to college. Actually, no, I don't want to cover that part. Let's just go straight in to college. What really motivated me to go to college, that person's not worth it anymore. So once in college, okay, here we go. So I started college in October of 2004. Making that decision wasn't easy, because there's so many colleges and I didn't know which to choose from. I was trying to go the easy route and went the TV school route as opposed to the actual traditional route, which is what? Community college, and then you transfer over to a big college. It's funny how community college people like to look down at TV colleges, and by the same token, Ivy League schoolers who jumped right away into the big school because mommy and daddy paid for the bills, they look down at community college students, and the pattern continues. You could be a Queens College graduate, but a Harvard graduate will look down on you. Vice versa, and the cycle keeps going. College was not everything it was cracked up to be. When I got there, social-wise, atmosphere-wise, the atmosphere was okay. It was better than high school because, again, it's a more mature audience. People in high school are just a bunch of putzes. Once I was in college, I realized my first semester was sort of easy, but I didn't know how to handle things. What was my major? Graphic design. I couldn't think of any other career to get into. I tried to get into computers, but computers are so boring. Networking and all that stuff, it is boring. So, once I was there, I had to learn how to use all these softwares. Adobe Illustrator, Photoshop, and I had to deal with a very hard-ass teacher by the name of Miss Escarole. If she's watching this, hi Janet. She's a hard-ass, she was a ball buster, but she's kind of the one that pushed me to do good in Photoshop. I still remember some of the stuff I learned, but I got better later on, which I'll get to. Again, I covered that part right now. Once I realized it was not... let me see now. Once I realized it was going to be hard. Yes, it was very hard. And it got harder, too. I was in 2 different colleges, and before I wrap up my first college, I did 3 semesters at a school called Catherine Gibbs that does no longer exist anymore. That school was very expensive and very hard. There was like a total of 6 semesters. If I would have stayed the entire time there, I would have been done there in 18 months. So October of 2004, I should have been done by May or March of 2006. But my impatience led me a different path. My first semester was sort of easy, but not as easy. I realized that artist teachers are kind of a pain in the ass. They kind of ruined the art for me. I was so good. I like to think of myself as a good artist, just a better artist than me. But when you have to deal with these artist teachers, they kind of ruin the passion for you. It's the equivalent of what's that Def Leppard thing I heard? Heart versus technique. I wish I had the technique, not the heart, because people with the heart get lazy. I have heart, now I got lazy. You have to do projects all over again. Something fell down in the back. Who cares? Artist teachers make you do the same stuff all over again, which would get on my nerves. Like photoshopping this can right here. You use the white type font, then you got to do it again. You use this barcode, you got to do it again. The school was not cheap, and they gave you books. They gave you college textbooks, but they gave you a bunch of books that you don't even need. I was finally onto their crap by my 3rd semester when they wanted to give you more books, and I said, nope, I want the books I'm assigned to. And right away somebody made a smart-ass remark, oh, you've been here a long time. I don't know if she said it out of pity or whatnot. The mistake I made in that first college was I should have wrapped up my 3rd semester and then take the summer off. But I was so motivated, I wanted to wrap up college already. And I was only like maybe 2, 3 weeks or 4 weeks away before wrapping up that semester. And I just said, the hell with this. I'm not staying here anymore. And the mistake I made one day was, and this is something that I wish people would learn. Yes, if you just pull out your USB out of your computer, you will mess up your files. And another mistake I made too was never work inside of your USB. If you have something inside, if you got something inside, you drag the file out and work it on the desktop. Don't work from the inside. That's the mistake I made. I was learning web design at the time. I was in that HTML. No, it wasn't HTML. It was the class where you mess around with Dreamweaver. Dreamweaver is the equivalent of guitar tabs when you're learning how to play an instrument. You got tabs and you learn how to read music. Well, I worked from the USB and the project was going fine. Then for some reason, I don't know what mistake I made. Again, using Macs, because I was going back and forth between Macs and PCs, I lost all my data. And boy, was I furious, and I could not get that data back. The teachers don't give a shit. Their attitude is like to start all over again. And that's kind of where I realized that I don't want to be in this school anymore. I just had enough, and I jumped the shark. I didn't wait a long time. I only had 1 week to get the paperwork done, and I had to pay a big tuition to get out of my school, to get out of my second college, my first college, Catherine Gibbs. I had to pay a lot of money. I had to pay like $320 to get out of that school. And then when I'm officially out of there and I'm at the new college, I get a bill and there's some collection agency that I owe like $200 more or something. I'm like, that school got exactly what it deserved though. Their karma was just a bite in the ass. Anyway, let's continue the story because I could go on all day long ranting about that school. I already covered that I was in 2 different colleges. The academics were definitely not going to be easy, and they weren't. No, they weren't. English class was sort of easy. I wish I would have been a little more mature to handle the situation, but I was still like a high school idiot. I don't know what my GPA was. I think it was 3.7 or 2 point something. I don't even know. I was like that B, C average. Most people wanted an A. What led me to quitting my first college? I explained that already. Actually, no. Let me get into that. Graphic design in general is a pain in the ass career. That's one of the reasons why I quit my first college. My goal was to continue that career, but because the classes were so hard and the school just doesn't teach. They don't. They teach it to you once and that's it. You got to learn the rest on your own. I don't know if that's just hard learning or not, but you're paying a lot of money. And I'm like, My goal was to continue the career, but in a different school. The mistake I made was that when I went to the second school down in Brooklyn, graphic design, they do teach it there, but it's only a slice of the pie. So you can just imagine these computer programming people, they don't want to learn graphic design. I was the opposite. I want to learn graphic design, not networking or visual basics or SQL, all this other crap that I don't even know. My second college was not a walk in the park. No, it wasn't. Again, I had 1 week to get the paperwork done, pay my exiting fee of $320. And when I went to my second college, it was a whole different system. The school was much more shorter. My first college was 18 months. My second college was only 16 months. But I was able to dash a semester because the lady who helped me, nice lady, I'm not going to vilify her, she was a nice lady, she told me, bring your, transcript or something like that, which they didn't want to give me. I had to pay like, I think, $20 more for that from my other school. And I was able to dash a semester. The only class that the only credit I didn't take was a C- from my Photoshop teacher, Mrs. Escarole. And it was culture shock when I was at the new college all over again. Culture shock. Why? Because one school focuses on more in the art and the fashion industry. My second college is more business oriented and more medical professionals. There's a lot of medical people in that school. When I graduated from that college, I think almost the entire student body were all medical people, whether they're nurses or the ones who take your blood pressure and whatnot, medical billing. It was definitely culture shock. The computer programming people, we were only a fraction of the population of the student body. My second college was not culture shock yet. I was in school. Oh, interesting one. I was in a school full of Soviets. Not kidding you. That second college was all Russians, Russian staffs, but there were also a lot of hot women that were there. A lot of attractive nurses. It beat my previous colleges in that department because my previous college had a lot of fashion people, a lot of these hot-looking fashion girls, but they were conceited. The nurses and the other ones from my second college, they were not. They were very attractive, and I hit it off with some of them. Some, and I exaggerate, but I did hit it off with some, not all. My second semester in that school was awesome. My first semester was not, because I had to get adjusted to the way of that new school, which wasn't easy. So that was a very weird summer of 2005. That was a very weird summer. Second semester was awesome. I met some cool people. There were some easy classes. But at the end of the day, I still don't know what major I'm in. I don't even know what major I'm in because I went for graphic design, but I had to learn all these other programs. Visual Basics, SQL, Windows XP was kind of easy. Windows XP. What are we now? Windows 10? And that's about it. Let's continue. Yeah, I don't know what. Macs versus PCs. Interesting one. I just covered that. My first college was all Macs. There was one building down the street where they had PCs, but once in the main building, we were all in the Mac department. That means us, the fashion people, the Visual Basics people. I think that's the program. That's that visual design. They're the ones who do magazines and all that stuff, and brochures and coupons. Again, Macs versus PCs. I became better graphic designer through a PC than a Mac. My friend Nicholas, her sister's watching this. If she watches this, her brother, let's just call him Tony or Nick, whatever he wants to be called. He gets mad all the time. He loves apples. I told him, you probably have that over your wife. If she goes to the store and forgets to buy you apples, she's sleeping on the couch tonight. Let's continue. My third semester was deja vu from high school and not good. Not kidding. My third semester was the drizzling caca. And mind you, this is where I say deja vu because this was like my senior year in high school all over again. The difference, in my senior year in high school, I was a negative, you know what, it was the late 90s, I didn't want to be there. College was a little bit different. I walked in with a more positive mentality. I wanted to continue. I wanted to wrap it up. I wanted to end on a high note. That college semester was the biggest pain in the ass. Teachers sucked. They sucked. There was this one teacher who was a real something. Everybody was afraid of her. Everybody was afraid of her. Even the head of the department was afraid of her. They have a very weird system in that school. It's almost like they want you to succeed and get your money. They don't want to keep you around, unlike community colleges where if you don't pass, they'll still take your money. They won't, whatever. I almost didn't graduate, but I did not. Oh yeah, I almost didn't graduate because of my math class. God, that math class was so damn hard. I think I graduated by failing that class. If I'm not making any sense, that's my point. Math was just very hard. And I knew very early on, when I wrap up college, I'm done. I don't want to be here anymore. And with my graduation, my experience was sidelined with some other stuff. Yes, it was sidelined with some other stuff. What was I sidelined with? Let's just call it the college sweetheart, if you could call it that. My experience with her was very similar to the experience I had with the high school sweetheart. The difference is, the girl from high school hates me till this day. The girl from college, meh. Those are people from back then, so to me they're expendable, Whatever. And I focused a lot of my energy on her. I don't know why. She was definitely attractive, I'll tell you that much. Even though she was older than me, like 10 years older than me, I think. But if you would have seen her, you know what I'm talking about. And I graduated with an associate's degree. In what? I have no idea, but I got an associate's degree. When you graduate, they just give you a piece of paper rolled up like this. Like that. Can you see this? They give it to you like that, and you got to go back to school. The brochure, the pamphlet, whatever, said you get it 90 days after you graduate. But it turns out that I bumped into a lot of kids that were in the computer programming and the nursing and whatnot. They said they got their diplomas right away, like 2 days later or a week later. I didn't know, because I live in Queens and the school was in Brooklyn. I was too lazy to go down there. And my graduation ceremony was kind of a weird one. Again, hot college sweetheart. And after I graduated, I got a lot of annoying phone calls from telemarketers and whatnot, asking me if I want to reapply or refinance my student loan and whatnot, which is I'm still paying till this day, by the way. The same money I used to buy this equipment, the tripod, the webcam, I'm paying money out of my pocket to pay that student loan. I haven't quit my day job, people. And what are my final thoughts about college? What are my final thoughts about college? Well, here's one for you. This is an important one. Don't take a break. Go right away into the school force. Go right away. If you graduate high school, take the summer off, whatever you want, but head back, because if not, you're gonna have to. It's gonna be a while. It's gonna be a pain to get back into that rhythm, which is what happened to me. I took 4 years off from 01, 02, 03, and by 04 I was kind of finished. I didn't want to be in the workforce anymore. I wanted to go back to school. So when I went back to school, that rhythm of getting up early in the morning and going to school and handing in work was not my forte. I'm not the most motivated student, and it was just a painful experience. Social-wise, college was okay. There were some cool people I met. Some I sort of kept in touch on Facebook. Some, not all, when Facebook was still popular. Not anymore. I should have focused more on the social aspect, but that's another subject for another day. My high school episode focused more on the social area. My college focused more on the studies and whatnot and so forth. So there you have it, my college experience. And one thing to wrap it up, I want to show you something. My first college, Catherine Gibbs, you pay a lot of money. They give you books, they give you equipment, they give you everything, but it's just not free. And this camera was not free. This camera, Olympus C5060. This is the one that got started it all. I was still using this camera in 2017 when I was doing these blogs because I was too lazy to get started with this webcam. And I still have it till this day, and it still works. I don't know what good stuff you could do with it now, because I know the new ones now are more advanced. You could do this, you could do that. This one doesn't shoot in 16.9, but it does shoot 4.3, but it shoots very good quality. So there you have it. My college experience. I did 18 minutes. Probably going to be cut off. And I will say this, though. I wish I would have seen the movie Back to School with Rodney Dangerfield before I got into college, not after. When I graduated in 2006, they kept playing the hell out of that movie on Comedy Central. Now that you can find the movie on Amazon Prime or on Stars and whatnot. It would have been interesting. I always wanted college to be like Animal House. That's like the biggest punchline. I wanted to be like Animal House, but then I realized That's in the big colleges. The small colleges, nothing but a bunch of boring adults who just want to go in and do their work and go home. So that aspect kind of ruined it for me, but the rest is pretty meh. So, final thoughts, one more time. Go to college right away after high school. Don't take any 4 years off because you're gonna get lazy and it's gonna be a pain to get readjusted back to that school rhythm. Unless you're more of a studious type and not much of a working person, then you're good to go. So right now, I gotta end this video with my catchphrase, and that catchphrase is, I'm signing off. Editor, hit the music.
I'll be there when you get it right. That's the beauty of living life.